Good evening, everybody. Yeah, any doubts, issues? No issues? Fine, we will revise. But if any doubts, I think, yeah, you had something, please. Question we will discuss. Huh? We have not reached to that question answer. We will discuss that from questions from question 1. Yeah, you had certain doubts. Yeah.
Who represents the matter? What is the matter?
Matter is unconscious thing, and matter is made up of atoms. This is matter. Jad. इसको हिंदी में कहते हैं जड़, right? Jad means that which is unconscious. And smallest part of matter is atom. Everything is made up of atoms.
If smallest part is atom,
Yeah.
then Karm Pudgal that means
No. Karm Pudgal we will come. Is your question related to Karm Pudgal or Pudgal? Pudgal. Right. ठीक है.
That means Pudgal that means our karma.
Okay. You are not able to associate with the Pudgal with the Karm Pudgal. Right? Okay. Pudgal, forget about Karm Pudgal right now. Pudgal is matter. And matter is made up of atom. Right? When two atoms combine, we have diatom. And this is how aggregate of atoms are there. This is one concept. Now, Pudgal, in its subtle aspect, Sukshma, right, or stick, they stick to Jeev. This is also matter, no? But these matter which are sticking to the Jeev, they are defined by your action, motivated by your passion. That is, fruits of your action. So that fruits of action, according to that fruits, I am attaining this body. So those atoms have combined in such a way that I have become like this. Then you will ask, sir, how come these atoms combine to give rise to this shape? What is the logic? Why you didn't become like this? Then I will say that my karmas were like that. They had given me, or atoms have sticked in such a way that this figure has come. Isn't it? Yeah.
Sir, Jiva means consciousness.
Yeah.
So, sir, we talk about our body. Only about our body.
I'll give you, before that one, I'll give you. Broadly, Jena says that everything has consciousness, right? Broadly, right? Now, if we say crudely understood or simply stated, this also has consciousness, right? Now, don't ask me this question, sir, if this has consciousness, then what is this?
So, sir, what
this is logical problem. No?
If there is consciousness in everything, so what is the meaning of Ajiva?
Consciousness is formless.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? If consciousness is there in this world, so it requires some environment.
Okay.
ये रहेगी कैसे? Isn't it? तो इसको matter चाहिए.
Ajiva.
फिर you need to tell where. So then you need space. Then you need to tell when. Then you need to have time. Then I need conditions. I'm moving now. My hands are moving. I'm walking. So that condition should be there so that I can have movement. Isn't it? Sometimes I take this chair and I sit down. So there need to be condition for rest also. That's my point. So Jeev requires all these things. It means they are also real along with the Jeev. According to Jana, now these are the final reality. There is no reality beyond this. Jeev, Pudgal, space, time, dharm, adharm. Now you can ask why is it? Then I will say it is according to Jana. Somebody will come and he will tell you, no, 6 are not there. 7 realities are there. It is his view, no? We can't raise question how, why. They have told, fine, understood. Now we are trying to understand what does it mean. Somebody will come and he will say, only 2 realities. Somebody will come and he will say, infinite reality. Somebody will come and he'll say, only 1 reality. ये तो उनका माइंड हो गया.
The next question is that Tirthankars as a Kevalagyan, they got moksha. Kevalagyan is moksha. How they can get moksha without death?
This will be explained, right? This is a conceptual issue, and whenever concept is there, then it has its own time. It will come automatically, right? I'll explain that. One thing. Second thing, there is no answer for me. I can't answer your question of how. How वाले का कभी जवाब नहीं मिलेगा आपको, isn't it? All these questions will come. Yeah.
One criticism of Anigant was that all these multiple viewpoints, they are not able to give a final
Yes.
synthetic complete vote.
Yes.
So is there any reply by journalists to this?
This is never-ending debate.
Answer also goes without a proper reply. It goes against the very, the point from where we started. That otherwise we won't be able to,
You are mixing two point of view.
The blind man and the television.
I got it. That last section, last class also you had the same issue. You are mixing 2 point of views. What Jainas had said and what critics have said. Jainas have said their philosophy, gone. Now critics are criticizing them. What you are saying is whose point of view? Jaina. And Jainas will give counter. Now critics will give again counter. This is never ending debate. वो तो चल रही है. It started long back. It is still there and it will be continuing. Jainas will never come and will say, oh yes, we were at fault. We committed the mistake. If they say, then where is the then Jainas school then? This is never ending debate. This is debate. 1 argument, counter. 2 arguments, counter. Argument, counter. But we are not interested into that never ending debate now. We read Jainas philosophy, how it is criticized, we have got. That's it. Our journey stops here. We won't go beyond it because that will become a research paper kind of thing. Otherwise, in Jainas philosophy, people do PhD now. तो फिर वो क्या कर रहे हैं जब हमने यहाँ पे 1 घंटे में जब जैनास पूरा पढ़ लिया तो वो 2 साल में क्या कर रहे हैं फिर वो? Getting my point? So we don't have to go beyond that. Yeah.
So this Kevalagyan is absolute or differs from the person to person?
It's absolute. I'll again come to that.
Well, but how Tirthankar came and added new dimensions to this one? If there is absolute, then the Rishabdev has came and gave all the viewpoints. Everyone came and added new dimensions. The last one, Mahavir added multiple
Fine.
dimensions.
Wonderful. In Hindu religion, we have 3 ultimate gods. Why we have 3? Why not 1? What is the need for second one and third one? No, I mean, question is answered by question. इसका कोई जवाब नहीं है ना. I mean, there has something. Then everybody is saying and everybody is adding on something. Everybody are liberated and religious teachers. Right? And this is where Mahavir, 24th Tirthankar comes and he gives this, he systematized. And this is how all teachings have been synthesized. कोई क्या बोला. Parshvanath had given 4 principles out of Panch Mahavrat. Mahavir added 5th one. Isn't it? Satya, Ahimsa, Astya, Aparigraha. Given by Parshvanath, 23rd Tirthankar. 24th Tirthankar had come and added 1 more. That had become Brahmacharya. So this addition is, now this is have the complete system.
But they are part of Yam also in yoga.
Why we are not discussing yoga?
So इसमें discuss हो रहा है.
No. That is not the point. Don't try to catch them. Don't try to catch them. There are many points where we can catch. But then we will be caught by UPSC. Don't try to, dig them. This is again, we have already said in the first lecture, this is their flight of thought. And this is first school. Right? Our journey starts with the Jainism. Let us see other schools, third, fourth, fifth, and a point will come when we will be seeing one philosophy that will giving answers to all our questions. In that philosophical system, you ask anything, he has answers. Then only he was needed. If all questions have been answered here itself, then what is the point in having next school? Right? Initially I can understand in 1 or 2 or 3 classes or 4 classes, you would be diverting, right? So, but try to, contain. I mean, there is no need into going into that. Yeah.
Is there any creator of Jiva in Jainism?
I think it is eternal. No? So eternal means no creator. Yeah.
So I cannot understand why there was a need to treat dharma and adharma as separate categories. It could have been incorporated into.
But it was not incorporated. It is not incorporated. I mean, what I can do. I am helpless. These are these people and philosophers have given us, and this is how. I know only one thing. If question comes on Ajeev, then you have to write 5 those things. If you don't write dharma and adharma, then your marks will be deducted. This I am knowing it for certain. What is dharma? I can explain you. Why? I can't. Why they have given word dharma? I don't know. Isn't it? So, us periphery mein nahi jayenge. Let us have fast recap whatever we had discussed. We had seen Dravya. That is, Dravya is also known as substance, and it is also known as category. In one classification, Dravya is broadly divided into 2 classes or 2 categories. These are Jeev and Ajeev. What was Jeev? Atma, or simply we can say consciousness. If Jeev is conscious, then Ajeev is unconscious. Even otherwise, as a part of our basic concept, we know that in this whole world, in this entire cosmology, there are only 2 things. Simply as a layman language, I say living and non-living. If I say technically, then I'll say matter and soul. Isn't it? Matter and soul. If we discuss in Western philosophy, then we will see they also have same issue. And matter and soul, they call it as a issue of body and mind. Their mind is Indian soul, but Indian mind is not Western soul. Here Indian mind means internal sense organ. Getting my point? Yes, all these things will come again and again. Entire system is based on all these things. Isn't it? So what Jainas are saying, not to mug up. We don't have to mug up, because this is what exists in this world. Living and non-living, conscious and unconscious. But yes, now they further elaborate, and their differences come. This is Pudgal. Don't get confused. Pudgal is as simple as anything. That is matter. It's a matter. This is Pudgal. The smallest part of matter is atom. And each atom have their own specific quality. When these atoms combine, then we have aggregates. And this is how matter, body comes. This is the aggregate of atoms only. What is the smallest part of this board? Atom. This is what science says, and this is what they are trying to say. So this is Pudgal. However, Pudgal, in its subtle aspect, they represent Karma Pudgal, and these Karma Pudgal stick to Jeev, and this Jeev comes into bondage. This Jeev comes into bondage. So if question comes on Pudgal, right? So you have to tell Pudgal is a type of ajiv, and Pudgal type of ajiv is itself a one of the dravya. Explain Pudgal, and now you have to tell that Pudgal matter in its metaphysical aspect, in its subtle aspect, stick to Jeev and binds the Jeev, and Jeev comes in bondage. Now here one word has come, subtle. It might create problems to some of you. Subtle means, in Hindi it is known as Shukshma. Shukshma matlab nahi pata. Subtle, I don't know. Shukshma, you have said so typical word in Hindi that Shukshma is itself not comprehensible. Okay, no issues. Opposite to subtle is gross thing. This is gross. This is gross. Aggregate of atoms. Isn't it? Gross चीजें तो हम जानते हैं, जिसको हम देख सकते हैं, फील कर सकते हैं, पकड़ सकते हैं. This gross, this gross, this gross, this gross. Right? Now subtle than this. इससे छोटा और लेमन लैंग्वेज में अगर बोला जाए तो, भाई ये तो दिख रहा है ना, लेकिन इससे और छोटी चीज is like you can understand our breath. When we do, we feel something, no? But can I see that? So that is subtle than gross. I can feel, but I cannot catch it. I can catch this. Isn't it? This is subtle. Is this subtle? Is breath subtle? More subtle than this breath. Are you understanding? More subtle than this breath. जिसको मैं feel भी नहीं कर सकता, but I can only think of. और अहंकार. I have ego, isn't it? लेकिन क्या ego में दिखा सकता हूँ as I show my nose? और forget about ego. Ego से पहले भी मन. Is मन external organ? मन is internal sense organ. आज मेरा मन बहुत अच्छा है. किसने बताया? हाँ, अरे यार बारिश हो रही है. ये किसने बताया? My eyes, external sense organ. Isn't it? Now in other case I say, yeah, today I am very sad. Did I see? Did I smell? Did I hear? Did I touch? Did I taste? Even then I came to know that I am sad, I am happy. How do I know? Because internal sense organ is there one. That is man. But about man we can only think of. I cannot hold it. So that man is more subtle than my breath. Getting my point? Subtle that man is ego, ahankar. I am egoistic. Who is talking to you? Who is telling you? Who is teaching? Then I say, I am teaching. It's me. Me means I. I means ego. Ego means ahankar, pride. So that has become more subtle. To realize this, we need to take a conscious effort to know that, I am egoistic. You can absolutely refuse. So what ego? Ahankar, I don't know. Then you have to work a little bit. And then you have to reach to that. I hope. Is that clear? So that Pudgal in its subtle aspect stick to Jeev and binds the Jeev, and that comes in bondage. Here, that part we will be discussing in another aspect, but why I am telling you here is that because whenever question comes on Pudgal, you have to write on this. Don't forget that. But you don't elaborate because question is not on this. Question is on this. Then we have space. Space is also of two types. Lokakash.
So I want to say that man and ego as per Jana.
No, यार जाना नहीं, मैं आपको समझा रहा हूँ. I am just explaining you subtle. मन ego तो मैंने कहीं लिखा ही नहीं है.
But they are not matter. They are not ego.
Did I write man and ego? Because I had to explain you subtle. Right? What is there in Jana that I'll write you. And that you will find in the notes. But what I say sometimes in the class, that is only effort to explain you. So sometimes I give a standard example. Sometimes I give my own examples. I create examples and then explain you. Those examples you will find nowhere, has not to be written in your answer. That has been given to just to make you understand. For example, I am very frequently using bag which is full of fruits. Never to write in your answer bag. Otherwise he will catch you. Because old person is evaluating your answer. And he says bag क्या होता है? ये कहाँ से ढूंढ लाया bag? थैला है? बस्ता है कोई? Something like that. But if I don't say bag and if I use technical terms, then तो bouncer होगा ना. After some time, I will be giving you name of that, and you will be so used to that you will forget bag and you will be always using the terminology. True? Okay. So space and time. Then we have time. Time is again of two types, real and empirical. Then we have dharma, and then finally we have adharma. This is the first classification of Dravya. In the second classification of Dravya, this second classification is based on extension. That means some dravyas are extended. We can measure, we can see their dimension. And some dravyas are non-extended. Vistar. Extension matlab Vistar. Right? Okay. For example, this board is extended from that point to that point. This is extension. Is that fine? Now, based on extension, this same set of dravya would be classified. So, that classification is based or known as, again, two broad classifications. One is Astikaya and other is Anastikaya. Astikaya and Anastikaya. Astikaya are those which occupies extension, and Anastikaya are those which do not occupy extension. Extended and unextended. Extended are Astikaya, unextended are Anastikaya. Extended are Astikaya and they are unextended. Categories would be same. Categories won't change. Now you tell me, which are those categories come under the Astikaya and which are those which come into Anastikaya? Now one by one please tell and I'll write over here. One is Jiva. Can I write Jeev? Why? Why yes? Why no? Jeev is extended like light. And why you are refusing? Isn't it? Because in last lecture we had discussed that Jeev extends like light. It is coextensive with body. It assumes the shape where it exists. So my Jeev is like this to this. Because we have also seen that Pudgal, karmic particles and Jeev unite with each other just as water and milk get united. Isn't it? Jeev for example, of this is extended from this point to that point. So, you rightly said that Jeev is Astikaya because it is extending like light but not like matter. Isn't it? Two lights can coexist with each other without coming into conflict with each other. When I say two lights, that does not mean two lights, because tube light is a matter, and the light which is falling, is there any clash? In the same way, infinite souls, jiva, can coexist without coming into conflict with each other. Good. So this is jiva. Second is, of course, Pudgal. Then, space. Perfect. Then, Dharma. Yes, Dharma is also there. And if Dharma is there, then of course, Adharma is there. That means only one category is left out. That is time. And that would be Anastikaya. Because time is not extended as this board is extended. And hence it is Anastikaya. This is second classification. So within Dravya, we have got two classifications. Now as far as question is concerned, you can have short note on this. Astikaya Dravya. We can have short note on Ajiv. We can have short note on Pudgal. Of course, we can have the full length question on Dravya, as this question has been asked in this year, that is 2015. 10 marker question was there. Dravya of Jena. A lot of things to be written in just 10 marker. Isn't it? So, don't go by the number of words. They have written in around 150 words. But as an examiner, I am not concerned with your number of words. Even if you have written 200 words, but if you have not covered all the dimensions, you won't be getting marks. And even if you have written 100 words and covered all the dimensions, you will be getting out of 10, perhaps 6, 7. Don't equate your performance with the number of words. It's a fallacy. People are just run in the crowd. Try to understand. Complete answer. Focus on the complete answer. And initially I would suggest you, just don't see number of words. Whenever I take test, don't see number of words. Your issue is initially to write complete answer. Suppose in the 10 marker, you are supposed to write, question was demanding 150 words, but you end up writing 350 words. No problem at all. But in that 350 words, you have written all the dimensions. Now one criteria is fulfilled. Now we will reach to the second level. And now we will work on limiting the word. And I am very sure if somebody asks in 100 words, you will be writing in 100 words. 200 words, you will expand that. That depends upon your conceptual clarity and of course, revision. If you are thinking and writing, अगर सोच रहे हैं, सोच के लिख रहे हैं, तो आप देख लो यार, जहाँ 50 वर्ड की जरूरत है, you will end up writing in 100 words. डबल तो अपने आप ही हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि सोच के लिख रहे हैं. And if you know what I am supposed to write, then your mind automatically summarizes, because you are knowing that what is next point is to come. Right? So don't focus on the number of words. We are concerned with the complete answers and dimensions. And hence, to have complete answer, we need to tell that this Dravya has how many characters? Infinite characters. Isn't it? And that is known as Anekantvad. However, we can only few. That is known as Syadvad. Question is not Anekantvad and Syadvad. You just need to write it only 3 lines, or if 2 lines only will suffice. But in these 2 lines you have shown the application of basic Jainism philosophy, even to the Dravya. Isn't it? And this is what we are reading. There is no point of argument and discussion. What we started, that there are innumerable individual atoms and innumerable souls. So ये द्रव्य है तो सही, isn't it? And these are of 2 types, that is gunas and paryas. Done? Now in the next chapter we have seen, next school, we have seen the issue of Jeev, doctrine of Jeev. And in this we have discussed that Jeev is conscious Dravya. Or now you can write that Jeev is Astikaya, Dravya. The very essence of Jeev is consciousness. Its inherent nature is it enjoys certain excellences, fourfold excellences, and those are known as Ananta Chatushthay. Don't hesitate in repeating these words in class. Ananta Chatushthay, that is infinite faith, knowledge, bliss, and power. It is inherently perfect. We have also discussed that this is broadly of two types: liberated, that is mukta, and bonded, that is baddha. Bonded soul is also of two types. One is mobile, that is tras, another is sthava, immobile. Right? Some more description you can give, whatever we have discussed. Then we also discussed that this Jeev, when come under the influence of ignorance, right? Your question is valid. Your question is valid when you ask, when this Jeev is Ananta Chatushthay, then when it is having infinite knowledge, then how come it will come under the influence of ignorance? Your question is valid. This is one factor. Another factor is that I am afflicted with right now. Problem is this: that I am afflicted with ignorance. This is for sure, isn't it? So, and this is another factor that I want to get liberation. And liberation I can have only when I remove the root cause of bondage, and that is ignorance. And ignorance will be removed by right knowledge. So according to logic and according to my sensibility, I need to work on attaining right knowledge so that my ignorance is removed. Logically, a sensibility of mine says that I should not venture into that from where this ignorance has come. I should aspire to remove it. And it is because of this, all schools have accepted that this ignorance is beginningless. And very shortly, Buddha is, and other schools will be coming and they would be explaining you that what problem occurred when we, involve into knowing the cause of ignorance. What happens into that if we do? Buddha would be explaining you with some wonderful examples. But still, your question is valid, isn't it? Okay. Moment it comes into ignorance, it loses what? Faith in Tirthankara. And Tirthankaras were the religious teachers. They are the fit to guide us for the liberation. And I lost faith into them. Moment I lost faith in them, I am afflicted with ignorance. Hence, kasa, that is passion, kasa. All these terminologies are extremely important. And if question comes on doctrine of Jeev, and if you don't write these terminologies, you won't get marks. But if you do write these terminologies, every line will fetch you marks. This is how the factual question is known as. So kasaya. Kasaya are how many? 4. These are anger, greed, pride, delusion. That simply means that motivated by these, influenced by these, I'll do actions. In simply put, सरल भाषा में अगर बात करें, if you understand in the simplest language, then this action will be out of some motive. Isn't it? That won't be something like that, nishkam. Right? अब मैं गुस्से में आके काम करूंगा. That's a different thing. कि गुस्से में आके काम कर रहा हूं, so it's not necessary that I'll do only bad karmas. I might do good karmas also. greed, pride, out of pride, I am doing good karma. Kaise? Or it is me who had built up 100 hospitals, 100 orphan houses. किसने बनाए? मैंने बनाए. ये मैं कर रहा हूँ. देखा? मेरी शक्ति, मेरा. तो ये क्या है? Ignorance, and that is ahankar. But you are doing service to the society, isn't it? You are serving. In that way, you can understand that you are performing good action. And good action will lead to good fruit. So you will be probably, in next birth, you will be having good family, good age, good body, healthy body. You will be able to enjoy the material things of this world. Isn't it? Something like that. So, this is how we have kasaya. That means, kasaya were like sticky substance, chip hai. So this is how kasaya. That simply means that jeev is now massaged with oil. That is, here oil brand name is kasaya. And now this oil is massaged with this jeev, and now it becomes vulnerable to the pudgal, particles, matter. अब मेटल से चिपकेंगे. Just as dust particles stick to glass, isn't it? They kept on sticking, and hence visibility and clarity and transparency kept on decreasing. Same way, my knowledge, my bliss, my power kept on decreasing. And right now, either these Ananta Chatushtaya are absent or vaguely present. But my true nature is, originally, I am Ananta Chatushtaya. Isn't it? This is where kasaya do, and this is where Jeev is attracting flow of these karmic particles known as Ashrav. And this is where Karma Pudgal stick to that. And this is where we know that bondage is union of Karma Pudgal with the Jeev. And if bondage is the union, then of course we can say that what is the liberation? Separation. And for separation of these karmic particles which have restricted to Jeev, first of all this has to be stopped, and this is known as Samvar. And then already existing thing has to be cleaned, and one by one all these dust particles are going. And that is how you can say, I am regaining gradually, I am having more and more knowledge, more and more faith, and something like that. This will be stopped, and that will be eliminated if I have what? Right knowledge. And right knowledge I cannot have without right faith. And if I have knowledge, but if I don't practice, then no, useless. Isn't it? Hence we have right conduct. And right conduct consists of Panch Mahavrata, 5 principles. These 5 principles are Satya. Satya means truth. Ahimsa, non-violence. Aste, non-stealing. Aparigraha, non-accumulation. धन को संचित नहीं करना है. It's not like you don't have to, do hoarding, black marketing, something like that. Right? Aparigraha. And 5th is Brahmacharya, which was added by Mahavir. I mean, that is your GS question. We are not required. So, I have to practice with the help of, by possessing and practicing these 3 Ratna, popularly known as 3 Ratna, 3 jewels, I will be able to stop and I will be able to eliminate. This is not a mechanical process. It's a organic process. Isn't it? And this is where I will be removing all these karmic particles, and when last of the last particle is removed, then this jiva attains what? Liberated state, moksha, which in Jaina's philosophy is known by its terminology, that is Kevalya Gyan. Kevalya Gyan, isn't it? And in liberated state, it exists where? In the Siddhashila. Siddhashila, that is at the summit of this world, Lokakar. And there it will dwell for eternal time in eternal bliss. And hence, this Jeev has regained Ananta Chatuste. Infinite space, वो आ चुका है. Infinite knowledge, आ गई. Infinite power and infinite bliss. This is what the liberated state. Is that fine? So, this is the Kevalya Gyan, and this Kevalya Gyan, this Jeev goes there and, dwells there in Siddhashila. It is their concept exclusively, only Jaina. This is their doctrine of Jiva. Just remember one golden rule. Question will always come on self or Atma. Question will never come on bondage liberation. Just remember that whenever question comes on any school's soul, necessarily you have to discuss bondage and liberation. He won't ask. Even if question comes, what is Jeev according to Jaina? 5 markers. Don't just finish description of only Jiva. After 5, he would be giving you mark out of 2. And after 2, he can give you at the mark 1. And even if he gives out of 2, you will be getting 2 out of 5. Because you missed one logical thing. ऐसा नहीं है कि when I am saying you have to do. Think logically. If I am talking of self, then I need to tell no. Who comes in bondage? It is only the self. And when it comes in bondage, then I need to talk about liberation. That's logical. Hence, you do not ask separately. Right? This is another golden mantra which you need to remember. Fine? So, this is how we have Jaina. Now, let us take down something. Just give heading. Jeev. Doctrine of Jeev. Right in this. Jeev is conscious and Astikaya. Conscious and Astikaya Dravya. Next point. Consciousness is the very essence of Jeev. Consciousness is the very essence of Jeev. Next point. Like monads of Leibniz, Purush of Sankhya, Jivas of Jainism are qualitatively alike, but quantitatively differ. Qualitatively alike, but quantitatively differ. That is, all are conscious. But degree of consciousness varies. Next point. Their inherent nature is Ananta Chatuste. Their inherent nature is Ananta Chatushtay. That is, Jeev is infinitely, Jeev has infinite faith, knowledge, bliss and power. Next point. It is Astikaya. It is Astikaya because it extends like light. It extends like light, but not like matter. But not like matter. Next point. It is coextensive with body. Next point. Jainas gives direct and indirect proof. Direct and indirect proofs for the existence of Jiva. Give a small heading, bondage. Due to beginningless ignorance, Jeev loses faith in Tirthankara. Loses faith in Tirthankaras and becomes vulnerable. And becomes vulnerable to passion known as kasar. That is a sticky substance. That is 4 in number. That is anger, greed, pride, and delusion. Next point. These kasar attract the flow of karma pudgal towards Jeev. Attract the flow of karma pudgal towards Jeev. This flow is ashrav. Next point. Ashrav is of 42 kinds. Ashrav is of 42 kinds. 42. We don't have to remember all this. Out of 42, these 4 are this. 5 are non-observance of Panchamahavrata. Right? And some includes like काया योग, मतलब पहले मेरी वाणी खराब हो जाएगी, मन खराब हो जाएगा, शरीर खराब हो जाएगा, isn't it? वाणी से भी means by speech also I do certain actions and I do even violence, isn't it? So prominent kasas and prominent ashravas are there. There are 42 kinds, and these 42 kinds flow towards the Jeev to bind it. Next one. Ashrav may be first Bhav Ashrav, B-H-A-V. Bhav Ashrav. That is, it refers to changes in bhav changes in bhav before the entrance of karma pudgal. Before the entrance of karma pudgal. It is just like body massage with oil. It is just like body massage with oil. Second, dravya ashrav. That is changes after the entrance of karma pudgal. Changes after the entrance of karma pudgal. That is sticking of karma pudgal with jeev. Next point. In Jaina's philosophy, bondage means the union of karma pudgal, with jeev. Give a small heading: liberation. Liberation is separation. Liberation is separation of karma pudgal from the jeev. Next point. By possessing and practicing, Sri Ratna, that is right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct, the flow of karma pudgal is stopped. The flow of karma pudgal is stopped. And this is samvar. This is samvar. Next point. Then already existing karma pudgal are eliminated. Then already existing karma pudgal are eliminated or exhausted. This is nirjar. Next point. When the last of last particle is exhausted, when the last of last particle is exhausted, jeev regains its true nature, of Ananta Chatushtay. Regains its true nature, that is Ananta Chatushtay. It attains moksha or kevalya. Next point. Liberated soul transcends this sansar, and goes straight to Siddhashila, and dwells there in eternal knowledge and bliss. In eternal knowledge and bliss. Next point. Three Ratnas or three jewels together forms the path of liberation. Together forms the path of liberation. Right, so this is how we have our Jainism school. Some issues have left unanswered, like liberation broadly, it means, yeah, fine, that's fine. Yes, I mean broadly if I say as a whole, liberation means that we get freedom from the cycle of birth and death. By getting freedom from cycle of birth and death, actually we get freedom from suffering. Because our ultimate aim is to have cessation of end of suffering, and that can occur only when I stop coming again and again in this world. And that can occur when I get freedom from this vicious circle, that is birth, death, isn't it? That means liberation, of course, that is freedom from cycle of birth and death, is also represents, it stands for cessation of suffering, complete end of suffering. Getting my point? But the very important issue arises that 24th Tirthankar, before attaining Kaivalya, he was an ordinary being, no, Vardhaman. But he attained Kaivalya Jnana and attained Moksha, that is Kaivalya. Now he is a liberated soul. Isn't it? He is a liberated soul. And in liberation, there should be end of all suffering. One thing. Second thing, now you tell me that once he probably at the age of 42, he attained Kaivalya Jnana. Did he die at that time? No. Then he spread his knowledge. Then he wandered from one place to another and teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching. Got my point? But the very simple question arises, Yar Mahavir, why you are suffering in this world? Why suffering? Because to live in this world with this body has its own problem. Because this body feels tired. This body feels, sleepy. This feels hunger. It fell ill. जुकाम हो गई, खांसी हो गई, सब illness आ गई. Is going and thorn is there. It pricked into my foot and it pinched and blood is coming out and so painful. दर्द हो रहा है ना. Last night I could not sleep. It was so restless. I'm suffering. Right? But we will ask to Mahavir, Yar Mahavir, you got Kaivalya Jnana, no? Then why you are suffering? We need to suffer. Are you understanding? These are all body suffering, no? I have to live with this body, and this body has its own need, has its own problem, has its own pain. तो भाई तू क्यों सफर कर रहा है? इतनी मेहनत करी है, हाँ, इतना ज्ञान प्राप्त करा है, अनंत चतुष्टय टाइप हो गया है. When you are also suffering, why? It's a good question, and we will see in Buddhism also that Siddhartha, after the attainment of enlightenment, Nirvana, Tathagat, Bodhi, and he had become Buddha. And it is only after attainment of Nirvana and enlightenment for another 40 years something, he wandered like anything from one place to another, teaching and teaching and spreading and teaching and teaching. His life was full of activity, hectic. It was very hectic. But same issue applies to him also. Yar Buddha, you attained, तो फिर किस बात का बुद्ध है? जब suffering ही खत्म नहीं हुई. And once your suffering is not over, then how come you got enlightenment? Because liberation and enlightenment means end of suffering. Isn't it? Somewhere you had asked that question also. At appropriate time, we would be of course discussing that. And this is how we need to explain. क्या चल क्या रहा है? But one thing is certain. Here moksha, nirvana and kaivalya does not mean death. That does not mean death. Of course some school will be saying that along with the moksha and this enlightenment, my death also comes. It is his view. But here in Jainism and Buddhism, we are clearly seeing no, that only after enlightenment, they taught. So we can't equate with the enlightenment with the death. That we are clearly seeing. ये तो दिख रहा है ना clearly. Got my point? Now, it's very conceptual, and if you can afford to think, then you will be able to answer it.
They can maintain separation from body and atma.
Just think and then.
They understood the way, but थोड़ा सा जो बचा था वो पूरा बताया. They understood कि this is the theory.
But नहीं. There is no room for but. Because he has attained, they have attained Kaivalya Gyan. Agar but, if there is any scope and space for but, then Buddha is, where is Buddha then?
Now their action doesn't create any fruit, so they can live.
Yes. They are?
Somewhere also parallel is going on, so there is no further accumulation.
Okay.
They are actually indulged in Kamka.
It's very conceptual, very conceptual. Just remember first lecture that contains the crux of entire paper 1. Very simple, so 4 or 5 points I think we have discussed. No relative. It's just like bag which is full of fruits. Now in this life, I have attained knowledge and now no further accumulation. But still this bag is containing certain fruits. And who will eat those? Can anybody eat those fruits? It is only me who has to eat those fruits. Are you getting? So no further accumulation. And now continuously eating fruits. So a time will definitely come when this bag will be exhausted completely of the fruits. When the last of last fruit I have eaten, then is there any point to exist in this world? Because I am in this world just to eat fruits. I am eating fruits. We all are eating fruit all the time, round the clock. While sleeping and while wakeful, we are eating only fruits only. And when my last of last fruit is exhausted, then why I will live this body? Then I will leave this body also. Right? And उसको कहा जाता है इस देह को भी त्याग दिया. I left this देह. देह means body. Are you getting my point? So, those who attain right knowledge within this life, they got enlightenment, but they still continue to exist. That is no further accumulation. They are known as something like broadly, every school will have their own terminology. They are known as Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta. Right? Within this life, I got Mukta, liberation. So broadly you can say, what? Buddha and Mahavir were Jivan Mukta. And when the last of last fruit had come, and they had eaten that, then there is no logic, there is no point to exist in this world. And now they will leave this body also. And that is known as, and that they leave with the death, and that is known as Videhe Mukti. Jivan Mukti and Videhe Mukti. Dehe means Sharir, is Sharir ko bhi tyag diya. And this is where, when death had come to Buddha, then that death event is known as Mahaparinirvana. Now he is completely free from all suffering. Is that getting? So Jivan Mukta and Vidya Mukta. But there are certain schools who won't be believing in Jivan Mukta. And they will believe only in Vidya Mukta. And they will be saying that right knowledge comes only when you have the last fruit. So along with the last fruit, the right knowledge comes simultaneous, and I will leave this body. It is their view.
So sir, according to Jainism, after Vidya Mukti only you get Kevalya or after Jivan?
अब ये तो हमने देखना है ना, अब आप बताए ना, right? उसका भी we have answer. Now still we can have some issue. Yeah, I mean clarity is not coming. Fine, you have understood, I know it, but still that visualization, appreciation is not coming. And for visualization and appreciation, we have examples. Examples will make things very clear. And I told you, philosophy can be understood only with examples, either standard or some created example to understand those things. So example is, suppose there is one potter who makes pots on wheel. Have you seen? That wheel is rotated and he makes pot. I hope you all have seen. Whole day he works. Now, last pot comes. And this is how he is making last pot. What he does, he gives a strong momentum to this wheel. बड़ी जोर से हिला के छोड़ देता है उसको. Right? And then gives final shape. He picks up, keeps this pot, get up, wash his hand and get into his home. What happened to that wheel? It's still rotating. Because of past momentum. In the same way, this body has got past momentum. जो पिछले जन्म के कर्म जो इकट्ठे हो गए बस वो कौन करके जाएगा? Here so I stopped further accumulation, but momentum is already given to this body because of accumulated fruits, and it is only me who has to eat those. It is immoral law. ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता कि करे कोई भरे कोई. It is only me who have to reap the fruits of me. And this wheel rotates, and this wheel gradually slows down. Isn't it? Because fast momentum ही है और fresh momentum is not there. Right? Earlier fast, slow, 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 and finally stop. And that is gone. So past has gone, no further accumulation, there is no point in living. Is that fine? This is how they explain. These schools explain Jivan Mukti and Vidya Mukti. I hope it is clear. Because of the past momentum. Fine. Buddha, his last fruit was his last fruit was fresh or rotten? Rotten. Why? No. No, Are, don't get carried away by emotion. His last fruit. When he got attained Tathagat and he was living and he died at the age of 80 plus something, then he had eating fruits, no. So his last fruit must have come. Right? His last fruit was fresh or rotten. Rotten. Why? He died because of disease, no, maybe dysentery. Because he had eaten half-cooked pork offered by his disciple. Yeah, of course. They live on the offerings now. Whatever you have offered, I have to, because I survive only on that. Bhiksha. Right? Anyway, so this is how, this is only symbolic, right? Just to explain. यार भाई लास्ट में क्या? तो लास्ट में बड़ी तकलीफ में थे, right? हमें dysentery हो गया. So that is why we have rotten fruit, something like that. Is that fine? So this is how we have this system in Jainas and in Buddhism. We will see that. Now we have in Jainism Jivan Mukti and Vidya Mukti. But their terminology is different in Jainism and their terminologies would be different in Buddhism. Right? Now, if you have booklet, that Indian Philosophy Volume 1, if you can open, I'll discuss the issue. Indian philosophy, that booklet, page number 59. You did not bring? Achha. Okay. Just check it out. I think today you should have it. I'll just check it out. Right, page number 59. You can just share. On page 59, you will see a table. Right? The whole of table is not concerned. Just see 13th stage and 14th stage. Right? 13th is Sayogi Kevlin. Isn't it? Sayogi Kevlin. क्या लिखा है? The stage of omniscience with activity. This is symbolic of Jivan Mukti. And 14th is Ayogi Kevlin. And this is the stage of omniscience without any activity. This is symbolic of Vidhem. बस आपने ये दो टर्मिनोलॉजी याद करनी है क्योंकि दिस टू टर्मिनोलॉजीज आर स्पेसिफिकली एप्लीकेबल टू Jaina. In Buddhism, again we will see types of nirvana, two types of nirvana, within this life and with death. Fine. Now, another issue is karma. We perform different types of karma. Broadly, there are two types of karma. One is ghatiye and other is aghatiye. अभी बंद नहीं करनी है इस बुकलेट को. One is ghatiye, other is aghatiye. Ghatiye is harming karma, which makes me to trap into this world. Like there are certain karmas which obstruct my knowledge. Isn't it? There are certain karmas which obstruct my faith, bliss. So they are ghatiye. If my knowledge is obstructed by certain karma, that means I am afflicted with more and more ignorance, and hence I will be more and more in bondage. They are harming, ghatiye. But there are another certain of karmas which are aghatiye, which are non-harming. Non-harming means they will not put me into bondage, ignorance. Knowledge is not obstructed. You can just imagine that before in bondage state, I am afflicted with ghatiye. Right now we are afflicted with ghatiye. Moment I have the right knowledge, moment I have the kevalya jnana, but still I am doing certain actions, that actions will be now. Isn't it? Now you see page number 59, you will find, according to Jain karma theory, there are 8 main types of karma. Harming and non-harming. Right? Ghatiye and aghatiye. Page number 60.
That means non-harming will not lead to accumulation.
Jivan Mukti. Now ghatiye karmas affect the attributes of the soul. These are 4 in number. You see the 4. Knowledge obscuring, perception obscuring, deluding and obstructing. All these karmas, when ghatiye karmas are totally destroyed, the soul attains kevalya jnana or omniscience. Aghatiye kya decide karenge? Now you see, I think during discussion we have referred lifespan, aapki age kitni hai. Then body determining, how you have body, healthy body, how attractive, handsome, something like that. Then we have status determining. I enjoy very good status in society. I enjoy poor status. My status is enhanced. I got my status, declined because of this problem and that problem. Isn't it? Well, status bahut acha. All of a sudden, somebody is caught in some big scandal. Status down. Hype of certain karma. And then we have feeling producer, karma. And when these finally aghatiya karmas are also exhausted, then finally you get liberation. So, you just need to remember that according to Jainas, broadly, there are 2 types of karma. One is ghatiye, aghatiye. Ghatiye, harming, and that is non-harming. I think last year, that question was asked, it was factual. That question had 2 parts, we will see that. And, you just have to reproduce it.
Sir, after Jivan Mukti and before Vidya Mukti, which one are left? Which one comes?
घातीय तो नहीं हो सकते क्या आफ्टर जीवन मुक्ति? हाँ, तो घातीय तो नहीं हो सकते क्योंकि घातीय तो आपकी नॉलेज को ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन नॉलेज तो मुझे मिल गई, तो घातीय तो हो ही नहीं सकते. बाय लॉजिक, बाय डिफॉल्ट इट कैन नॉट बी.
Before Jivan Mukti, can we have both Hati and?
Oh, that is there. वो तो हो गई. Right, so this is how we have discussed the Jainism school. I think you can just go through this one page. We have discussed in Jainism some of the issues. First is their basic philosophy, that is realistic and relativistic pluralism. Within their philosophy we had discussed metaphysics and epistemology, that is Anekantvad, Syadvad and Saptabhangine. Right? We have also discussed justification of Syadvad. Long back there was one short note. So be careful, such questions come. Right? What is the justification for Syadvad in Jainism? In that question, if you are not attentive, then you will be end up in writing what is Syadvad. But he is demanding justification, very conceptual question. Right? So be careful about these things. So justification. Then we had also criticized. And Syadvad and Anekantvad will be asked only because of criticism. So any question on Syadvad and Anekantvad has to be, given criticism. If you have not, then your marks will be deducted, because this is a big issue. Though we have already said that Jaina's basic philosophy is good, no, Anekantvad, isn't it? And that makes this Jaina's philosophy as Catholic and tolerant. But because of some philosophical issues, that is absence of absolutism, there are certain issues. First topic is that. Second topic, theory of reality. And what is real in that philosophy? Dravya. Dravya is Satya. That which is real is Dravya. And Dravya we had two classifications, Jeev and Ajeev. And second classification, Astikaya and Anastikaya. We have elaborated that, discussed that. And third topic which we had discussed in Jainism is Jeev, nothing but a part of Dravya, that is conscious Dravya. So in that we have discussed comprehensively what is Jeev. We had made a comparative study within Indian philosophy and with Indian and Western. Right? And then we have seen what is bondage. In the first lecture in the Indian philosophy basic concept, we have discussed broadly bondage. But in Jainism we have seen very specifically bondage, what exactly bondage means in Jainism. That is very particular only to Jainism. No other school will be talking in that way. Broad principles would be common, but particular it is won't. Then third, if bondage we have discussed, then of course we have seen liberation also. Right? This is how we complete. We'll just move to questions. At the end of chapters, you will find a recap. Right? This is like mind map. Means, in Syadvad, Anekantvad, or in Dravya, or in Jeev, what are the points which need to be included in your answer? They have written in bullet form. Fine. In examination days, during examination, this recap chart, mind map will help you a lot. They are just heading, subheading. Once you revise more and more, then you can fill up and you can further add on certain key terminology. Isn't it? And then keep on revising. At the end of day, then Jainism, you will have entire Jainism only in one page. So during examination days, when there are no gaps, this one page will help you a lot, because entire philosophy will be reduced to only these 40-45 pages. Right? And this practice generally helps in other areas also. So, now let us take question bank. Open your question bank. Page number 17. This question bank, its PDF is also on the website, right? So you can download from that also. Those who have not got, they will be getting hard copy. But still, if you miss and somewhere here and there, then you can download from the website. Question bank is there, right? Question number first, this year, 2015. First question is, simply it was written in this paper, Jain concept of Dravya. Page number 17. Jain concept of Dravya. I think this is a direct question, right? It has to be reproduced. The only thing which you need to remember is all the dimensions. So first give definition of Dravya. What is Dravya? That which is Sat, that which has Gunas and Paryay, that which is permanent, originates and decays. First classification. Second classification. Depending upon how much question is. If it is 10 marker, then I will not elaborate. If it is 15 marker, then one line. If there are 20 marker, then important areas I will elaborate. Getting my point? But whether they ask in 10 marker or 15 or 20 or 60 marker, your basic structure would be always same. That there, recap will help you. Your answer should have, this much. If 5 marker, I will write all these things just by putting commas. I will not write sentences. Dravya, real, comma, Astikaya and Anastikaya, comma, Jeev and Ajeev, comma. I will write all these terminologies in 5 marks. And if I write all the terminologies, that will be around 50-60 words. And this is how it is demanded. But if they ask 30 marker, the same thing, on each thing, I will write three sentences. So your answer is there. If it comes like an old pattern, it used to become 60 marker questions. Nowadays 60 marker questions are not coming. So if 60 marker question comes, then on same desk, I will write on each 5 lines and I elaborate Jeev. Is that fine? So, classification and then show the application of Syadvad and Anekantvad. That Dravya has infinite characters, but ordinary being can know only few from particular point of view. This is bracket mein Anekantvad and Syad. True? Next question, or you can write in the question bank, right? Question number 1 you can write through 2015, so that later also you can remember. Jain concept of Dravya. Second question, same in this year only. What do Samvar and Nirjar mean? Question is, what do Samvar and Nirjar mean? Question number 2. No. This is only till 2014. No. Are you waiting? This question bank is 2014. I am talking about 2015 on 23rd December, just last month it had happened. So those questions are not included here, no. So those questions you write. Are you getting? I repeat. First question was Jain concept of Dravya. Write in bracket 2015/10. 10 marker 2015. Next question is, what do Samvar and Nirjar mean? Explain their significance in the Jain theory of liberation. Explain their significance in the Jain theory of liberation. Write in bracket 2015/15. It's a 15 mark. I think direct question. The only thing is, don't unnecessarily create background. You don't have time, right? And question is only 15 marker. Background nahi banana hai. Jainism philosophy is this and great. It was so great philosophy that many kings had become followers. Something like that. That you have wasted. time as well as space. No. Jainas question, you can't start. What do Samvar and Nirjar mean? Explain their significance in the Jain theory of liberation. And if somebody writes, Jain theory philosophy is known as realistic and relativistic pluralism. Its metaphysical side is Anekantvad. Epistemological logical is Tyagvad. Then you come. They also talk of bondage and liberation. In their bondage and gradually you are coming on the track. This is wrong approach. Who asked you that what is their general philosophy? One paragraph you wasted. Are you getting? Be specific, be precise, be concise. There are a lot of things to be written in just 15 markers. Maximum number question is 20 markers. And you will find that those same questions just 5-6 years back used to come in 60 marker questions. So you can imagine that 60 marker content has to be, summarized into this 15 marker. So where is the room for that creation of that background? Jainas school is this, we had 24 Tirthankaras, real founder is this, and we are carried away with the emotions. Especially in the first lot, first question, mein to sari kahani aisi nikalti. And your last question is very specific, but by the time is over. So, what do Samvar and Nirjar mean? You can start in that way. Samvar and Nirjar in Jaina's philosophy represent two stages in the liberation. Samvar is stopping of karma pudgal and Nirjar exhausting already existing karma pudgal. This is a short paragraph. You can further concise it. Now you come to the second paragraph. In Jain philosophy, अब क्या बताएंगे सबसे पहले? जीव के बारे में, क्योंकि ये जीव के साथ ही कहानी चल रही है. Now जीव is conscious द्रव्य. Very specific and more prominent points has to be written. Ananta Chatushthay, inherently perfect, comma, it's Astikaya, fills the space like light. Then come to this third paragraph. Jeev, when get afflicted with ignorance, beginningless ignorance, loses faith in Tirthankara, and here it becomes vulnerable to passions, kasai. That paragraph bondage. Come to fourth paragraph. Right? And liberation means separation of karma pudgal from the jeev. For this, they talked about a path that is of Ratna, three jewels. And then you come and somewhere in as Nirjar, you elaborate them. Right? Fifth paragraph. Siddhashila and all that if you have written, then you say Jivan Mukh and Vidya Mukh. Within this life, we have Sayogi. And when we have Ayogi. You can also further say that this corresponds to Jivan Mukti and Vidya Mukti. So, this is how you have to move on. This is how you can say, approach of writing, and this is how your answer writing skills. All these skills will work only when you are completely revising and understood the topic. As far as understanding is concerned, I stand for that. You have the finest conceptual clarity. That I can commit. Now ball is in your court. More revising, better answers would come. Simple logic. No revising, you will be writing here and there. Right? Then you will be playing just on the basis of conceptual clarity. But content is also required.
Sir, in this question, this is actually a combination of two questions. So why we are giving very little emphasis on the first part and elaborating the second? It may be the case that they are...
No, both are mixed. Even if they would have not written second part, we would have explained their significance only. In the very introduction, we have explained their significance, that these are the two stages of liberation. This is the significance. No.
But how...
Then you can ask, okay, sir, then why they have written second part?
So my point is, what if they have decided that 50% marks will be awarded for the first part of the question, which is talks of Kumar and Niraj. The remaining 50% is for liberation.
But in that remaining, what you will be writing?
Sir, I want to know That is the mark distribution that will do those two parts.
Basically marks distribution इसमें है नहीं, because these two parts are more or less same thing only. Two parts will come and then I will tell you. But these are not actually two parts, because even in second part would have not been there. What you would have written, you tell me this. Same answer, right? So this is not two parts. Now let us come to the question number 1. 2014, last year. Explain the concept of karma and discuss various types of karmas according to Jain philosophy. Now this question has two parts. This is explain the concept of karma and discuss various types of karmas according to Jain philosophy. So the first part is explain the concept of karma. Right? So what is the concept of karma? Here you have to tell briefly karma theory present in Indian school of philosophy. As you saw, as you read, isn't it? Try to correlate with the basic concepts of our that foundation class. But this part is not to be much elaborated, because if you do division, then first part would be of something like 5 to 6 marks. Right? Second part is discuss various types of karmas according to Jain philosophy. This is of 8 to 9 marks, and it's a factual. So you have to tell different types of karmas are two broadly, Ghatiya and Aghatiya. And Ghatiya is itself of 4 types. Aghatiya itself is of 4 types. But here my answer does not stop. I have to tell briefly about bondage and liberation. Liberation, so you can't talk straightly, so you have to tell bondage and liberation. And this is how you have to explain. And this is where you are clearly saying that second part has more weightage. Next, explain the relation between.
Sir? Yeah. So, how do we correlate bondage and liberation from karma? How connecting line between the two types of karma, and then we write bondage and liberation. How do we connect?
No, in which part? First part or second part?
Second part.
So second part, so karmas are there, no? Once you will write into that, that is itself explanatory. Knowledge obstructing karma, isn't it? Perception obstructing karma. So that itself shows that you are now vulnerable to kasayas, ignorance, and ignorance that that flow, ashram and all that has begun. Knowledge obstructing karma is which? वो जो आ रहा है, वो जो चिपक रहा है, वही तो है. Right? So that is will be done. Next question is, analyze the relation between the theory of Saptabhangine and Anekantva. Just take 1 minute, reflect, try to frame answer. Your only problem is to, with respect to start, how to start. And if you start well, then you will be proceeding well. Yes, analyze the relation between the theory of Saptabhangine and Anekantva. पहले तो ये बताएं, इस क्वेश्चन में कोई इशू है क्या? No, fine. So conceptual issue is gone. Now let us frame. Analyze the relation between theory of Saptabhangine and Anekantva. Now Saptabhangine, don't you think that this is nothing but the theory of relativity of knowledge? Syadvadi hai, isn't it? So now perfect beginning would be that Saptabhangine of Syadva and Anekantva are the two aspects of one Jain philosophy, that is realistic and relativistic pluralism. ये आपका start हो गया. And now you come to the second paragraph. You explain innumerable dravyas, infinite characters, that is Anekantva. Start with Anekantva, move to Syadvad, go to Saptabhangine. Because question is on Saptabhangine, you will elaborate Saptabhangine. And in that 7 steps, 4th step is philosophical importance, that is avyaktam. उसको थोड़ा सा explain कर देंगे. Though it is 10 marker only, isn't it? So all the 7 steps are not to be explained. Only 4th step. Then what else is to be written? Logical. Saptabhangine, 7-folded judgment logically leads to that reality is many-folded. And this is how? Anekantvad. Fine. What else? इसके अलावा क्या लिखना है? Yeah, criticism has to be there. Isn't it? So, criticism, only 10 mark question is there. So, just focus on the most important criticism. And that is with respect to that theory of relativity of knowledge in the absence of absolute. That makes this philosophy as inconsistent. True? Okay. One more thing you can refer, that this theory of Saptabhangine and Syadva is not skeptic. Don't elaborate, but these are the points which has to be, included. Question number 3. Critically evaluate Jain doctrine of relative pluralism or Anekantvad. Critically evaluate Jain doctrine of relative pluralism or Anekantvad. Yes, question is on. So, we have to explain only? Is it? Good. So, critically evaluate Jain doctrine of relative pluralism or Anekantvad. Question is on? But before Anekantvad they have written? Relative pluralism. But relative pluralism consists of? And? Anekantvad. Relative pluralism. Realistic and relativistic pluralism ना लिखे, अब उन्होंने क्या लिख दिया? Relative pluralism. So relative is theory of relativity, that is Syadvad, and pluralism is Anekantvad. But they have written or Anekantvad, so don't get confused. Go by the English word, because that is more comprehensive now. One thing. Second thing, even if you say that only Anekantvad is to be written, question is on Anekantvad, you argue, then you tell me what is to be written in Anekantvad then. Of course, Anekantvad, you will start with Anekantvad and then you will move to? Have to be. Because they are only the logical side. Right? And then again that same stuff will come. Content would be same. बार बार एक ही कंटेंट आएगा और वो सारी चीजें आएंगी जो कि हमने पहले दूसरे क्वेश्चन में डिस्कस करी. नॉट स्कैप्टिक, क्रिटिसिज्म, Syadvad, Anekantvad, Saptabhangine, Anekantvad, justification of Syadvad. Then you might say कि हाँ सर समझ में आ गया. मतलब कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाए जैनिज्म में पूरा ही लगा देना. Isn't it? But that is mechanical approach. Isn't it? लिखना पूरा ही है, लेकिन क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से लिखना है. Sometimes I have to start from conclusion. Sometimes बीच में से, sometimes beginning से ऐसी मिल गई मुझे. जिस टोन में पूछेगा क्वेश्चन, in the tone in which it is asked, in same tone I'll answer. That is known as writing skills. Are you getting? Not mechanically reproducing. If question comes, for example, this year's question had come. They have written simple Jain concept of Dravya. तो इसमें आप वाली बात सही, कहा हाँ सर पूरा ही उड़ेलना है, तो फिर पूरा ही है. जिसने ज्यादा उड़ेला he'll have advantage. Isn't it? All the time in him. Isn't it? But if question would have slightly twisted, if I say that question, if they would have asked instead of direct Jain concept of Dravya, if they would have asked why Jaina gives concept of Dravya, अब ये बड़ा कंसेप्चुअल होगा. नाउ दे हैव आस्क्ड, अब क्वेश्चन किस पे है? माय क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई जैना गिव्स द कंसेप्ट ऑफ द्रव्य. व्हाट इज द टोन ऑफ द क्वेश्चन? व्हाट क्वेश्चन इज डिमांडिंग? क्वेश्चन सुना नहीं यार, अब कंटेंट तो वही आएगा, दुविधा नहीं है. जो आप बोल रहे हैं सही है? या इस क्वेश्चन का टोन कहाँ है, एम्फसिस कहाँ है? या why? But you are not answered. Why? Question is why Jainas give Drave? Now whole orientation of question is changed. Now the focus is on why. You need to have a very specific answer for that. And to have answer does not mean that you have to write 2 pages or 2 paragraphs. Answer could be 1 line, 1 word, or 1 paragraph. Rest of the thing would be justification of that. Getting my point? So now tell me why Jana gives theory of Dravid?
Explain the concept of bondage and liberation.
No. Yeah? Because they are realistic schools. They are realistic school, hence they need to believe in that which is real. And according to them, Dravya is real. And Dravya is broadly of two. अब आते हैं वो कहानी लिखते हैं सारी जो भी बना रखे. True? So this is how we have to. Question number 4. Why is Saptabhangine not treated as doctrine of skepticism? Look, same content, different environment. Why is Saptabhangine not treated as a doctrine of skepticism? Why? Yes, because it is theory of relativity of knowledge, not theory of probability. Your answer will start from the criticism number 1. Fine. Then you will nullify that. And then you will justify that. Why Saptabhangine or Syadwas is theory of relativity of knowledge. Then you have to tell the importance of Syad and all that philosophy. True? According to skepticism, all things are probable. According to skepticism, there is nothing certain. Isn't it? Skepticism means doubt. But Jainas never had any kind of doubt. They are just saying that we have only relative. Question number 5. What, according to Jainism, is path to liberation? Yes, what, according to Jainism, is path to liberation? Good. So, hit it directly. According to Jainism, 3 Ratnas, 3 jewels, together form the path of liberation. These 3 jewels are right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. Introduction is over. Come to next one. And then you tell what is G, why it needs right knowledge, that is bondage, liberation, that is how it will be getting liberation and ananta satisfaction. And how these 3 Ratnas would be explained. Correct? Next. You see, pattern, questions, content would be same again and again, same thing is to be there. But if you remember, if you are able to recall content, then all questions you can attempt. Question is 6th one. Is Syadvad is self-contradictory doctrine? Now this is 30 marks. Is Syadvad a self-contradictory doctrine? Never answer question in yes or no. Is Syadvad a self-contradictory doctrine? No. And then you stop. I mean, that is not the way to write. Isn't it? Anyway, is Syadvad a self-contradictory doctrine? It's a conceptual question. You have to bit think of. You have to bit think. And hence, this question I give you to homework. You attempt it. Right? So, this question is homework, and in next class, you can show me those answers. One thing. Second thing, only few questions are left out, that also I will discuss. Now, in next week onwards, anytime I can take 10 minute, 15 minute test. Basic funda is that whenever we finish our school bit early, so that remaining time, because I usually don't start a new school into last 20 minutes and half an hour. But I cannot leave class also, so we will be utilizing that through test. Your motivation for writing test will motivate me. Initially, I am highly motivated. But if you run from the test, if you ignore, and if you say no, they're not today, sometime other, so that's why I'm demotivated, and then I won't be taking. It's your work, and you need to know that it is going to benefit you. So you are highly motivated, I can conduct more sessions. Right? During mains, I have conducted for 3 days continuously 5 hours daily writing practices. Giving questions, right? For example, I have given 4 questions. Each question is to be written in 5 minutes. You get 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, you have to write here itself. And then immediately I discuss these are questions has to be written in that way. Take next 4 questions. And people have really written, and it really helped them. Because examination was just another answer writing session. It really did wonders. Right? And the success, as we have earlier also I have told you, and you will be also knowing that civil service success mantra is only 2. Revisions and writing practice. If you are genius, brilliant, gold medalist, but you are not doing these 2 things, then very soon your ego is going to be dissolved. Isn't it? That gold medal and all that will not help you. This exam is entirely different. Right? So, believe in that. And you see, what I am saying, it is substantiated by previous 10-year question paper. What I am saying is there, clearly seen. Right? So, let us take 6th question, that was self-contradictory, a homework to you. The next class I will discuss. 7th is, now, direct, anekantvad. Whatever you have mugged up, no writing skills are required, simply you have to pour what you have mugged up. Remembering what are the different dimensions. And of course, criticism also be there. Next question, nature of Pudgal in Jain philosophy. Now question is on Pudgal. And what is Pudgal? Matter. And it's a type of Dravya, a part of Aji. And then you discuss. In Pudgal, you also have to discuss karmic Pudgal. Because these karmic Pudgal stick to Jeev and bind it. But don't elaborate that, not too much. It's a very short paragraph. Right? Because question is not on that, question is on Pudgal. Half sentence would be there. Pudgal is a type of Dravya. In Jainism philosophy, Dravya is that which is real, and Pudgal is real. Whatever you write, you are writing, whatever you do, terms that should revolve in and around Pudgal only. And then you write whatever you write. But there should be logical correlation. Next is, same question, explain the theory of substance according to Jainism. That is nothing but the Dravya, 2 classification, application of Syadvad, Anekantvad, then we have a brief explanation of all these. Same question, question number 10, Jain definition of Dravya, repetition. Next is, state and discuss the Jain doctrine of Jeev. Again straightforward, very factual, every line will fetch you mark, if you are able to remember terminology. Jeev, first define what is Jeev, Astikaya Jeev, Astikaya Dravya, Ananta Chatushtay, Mukta Badha, Tras, Thavar, isn't it? Beginningless ignorance, Kasai, Por, Ashrav, 42 kinds, Bhavashrav, Dravyashrav, Samvar, Nirjar, Triratna, Kevalya Gyan, Sayogi, Ayogi, Siddhishila. हो गया enlightenment. Yeah, we will do that. Next is expound Anekantvad of Jainism. Direct question. First part, discuss Anekantvad. Now the second part, which they have asked, is it a consistent theory of reality? Again, we will not write directly yes or no. Right? You just write all those criticisms in a serial way. because it is a 60 marker, and second part of the question is equally important as first. It is not mistaken if I say 50-50%. Right? What is Anekantvad? 50%, and its criticism 50%. Once we discuss is Syadvad a self-contradictory doctrine, then this question will be further answered. Is this theory a consistent? Both have similarity. And last question, it is repetition. Right? Earlier I think 2013 question is repeated from 2001. Relation between Anekantvad and Saptabhangina. Right? Two aspects, and what is their relation, you explain, and that critique and everything that will come. Is that fine? This is your Jainism. Revise it. I don't think there will be any problem. In booklets, if you come across with certain terminologies which you don't understand, especially comparison with the Western philosophy, of course you will not understand. And don't attempt to understand that also. As we move on, all these concepts would be clear automatically. Because, for example, you will come across philosophy like idealism. We have not discussed, and we will not discuss in Indian philosophy. That will be discussed along with the Western. Is that fine? Chali, I'll wind up with this. I thought I would be able to start a new school. But anyway, this is good in fact that I am not able to start a new school, because new school should be always from the fresh class. So Sunday we are not meeting, revise it, and on Monday as usual. And in this week I'll just give you some 2-3 days more, and we will come back to our test plan. So be prepared, mentally prepared for that. Children, thank you. See you on Monday, same time. Thank you.